broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
That really took me out for a second. Sorry. Thank you for joining us here on AFTERBUZZ TV's Mr. Robot After Show. Shayla.
Great song.
We're
It
was a nice
just we're all real hurt about Shayla right now.
I'm gonna admit it. I'm kind of in love with Shayla. kind of
I'm
am.
glad to be back. I missed you guys
Yes.
last week.
Oh yes, I'm in love with JC too.
But I'm in love with you guys,
you
but,
more than Shayla.
but you're not gonna love me after this because I have to gloat a little.
What?
Because at the end of the last episode, I said Shayla would die, and you all said I was crazy.
We did.
Yes.
That was a crazy thing to say.
Not one to gloat.
It's not about you, JC. We're still in
I'm
mourning.
kinda like the bad
We're
crazy,
still
okay?
in mourning.
It's about Shayla.
and my love for Shayla.
If you're watching us live on YouTube, thank you so much. We're all going to be in the chat. Please let us know what you're thinking. Is anyone over Shayla? I don't think any of us are over Shayla. If you're listening to my voice on the iTunes, like us, rate us, subscribe, share. And if you want to talk to us on the chat or after the fact, you can always do that, but I'm not alone. Joining me is my esteemed panel, who you've already heard from, because Shayla just gets people talking.
Yeah.
Starting to my left.
Hey guys, I'm Stef Z. Tweet me at IAMSTEFZ.
Hey guys, welcome. I'm Ashley. Tweet me at Ashley_Chatman on Twitter.
What's up, guys? JC Rubio once again. But instead of giving my handle, why don't we just shout out Patrick Wasoba? And let's see, who else we got on there? Who else we got on the chat roll tonight? We got
Zen Apples. Zen Apple Jones. Sorry.
What's up, guys? Let us know your comments.
We've got this guy, Steve Kaufmann.
I hear he's pretty cool.
He says robot? What do you think he means?
Actually, we need guys in the chat roll.
Sketch to me.
What?
We should let everyone know because people are like freaking out because we're in a different studio right now.
Yes.
So
we were not hacked. You were not hacked. Everyone's okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was just a scheduling.
There are three studios here at AFTERBUZZ TV. We're in.
We like to mix it up. Keep you guys on your toes.
We're in the different one for the first time. We're in a different one for the first time.
Good
But
awareness.
thanks for noticing.
Patrick.
Right.
God, I want to dive into something so bad, and it actually goes with what's happening here.
Let's do it.
I know Steve. You're on Reddit quite a bit as
Yes.
well. I'm on it as well. We should almost call it like the Reddit Mr. Robot After Show. I swear, but there's a great theory, and this is gonna blow you guys away. If you go to his apartment every time, his apartment number doesn't correspond
Yeah.
to his actual apartment. It changes. If you go back and watch all the episodes.
Elliot's apartment number changes?
Yes.
Floor and letter. Kind of like our studio today, so I'm just kind of tying it in.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
good.
there
well
you
played.
go.
It's very, very true.
I'm not gonna lie. I usually pride myself on recognizing and seeing those things, and nope.
Yeah.
No, I never caught that.
Wait, did you guys catch it or someone else on
Like
Reddit?
I said, it was a
caught
sure someone-
Reddit
someone on
user.
Reddit, okay.
It was a
Reddit.
Reddit.
Smart.
So then I don't feel quite.
Someone
as
on
bad.
Reddit caught it and then probably put a screenshot up, so it's like irrefutable. It's like, well, I saw it now.
Well, now I'm gonna be aware.
Yeah.
Because what do those numbers mean?
It is.
Yeah.
Well, it's a tip to the cap of To The Shining. That's what they're saying.
Oh,
A little Kubrick action for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Sweet.
speaking of Elliot and Shayla, let's jump right and Elliot's apartment. Let's jump right into it. We start off. Elliot's coming back up to his apartment, and he's grinding up some morphine, and we think, oh great, this is how he's dealing with Shayla. And
Right.
then Shayla's there,
Right.
and it took us collectively
Yeah,
a pretty
a
long
minute
time to
to
realize
figure
it was
out,
a
oh, yeah.
flashback.
I said it right, like
Yeah, like the second we
I feel like we
noticed.
were all feeling it, and I was just like, okay, what? Like, did I miss something here?
Yeah.
Like,
Especially
is that-
because of the way she looked. Like she had the longer hair. Her appearance looked
Smoking
very
hot.
different. So-
Yeah, she did, and I
And that
feel like
too.
it was just very. The way that it was, like, you couldn't tell it was the first meeting because she was over there with this fish and she needed
Yeah.
something. So it was like you almost
They
thought that
seemed
they knew
familiar,
each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then you get that that's just the way that Elliot would react because he's Elliot.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
you're just like, oh, okay, she's But it would have been something crazy if that would have been. I mean, maybe it's just because I just saw Mission Impossible movies and people ripping off masks. If it really wasn't her and she was actually alive.
It was Tom Cruise the whole time?
Maybe.
No,
Steve, I wanted to ask you something. When we were watching that scene, you went, because Shayla ended up saying it was the line about the manifestation of one.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know why you were like, I was listening to you guys watching it.
Yeah.
He's going to have this question for everyone. Let me put you on the spot on the moment.
Oh, sorry.
No,
No.
I'm trying to remember the line particularly. I do remember before I thought it was a flashback. I thought she was his manifestation of Shayla.
Yeah.
And like that, in this show, that felt just as realistic.
Yeah.
Of like, well, no, that he may or may not be Christian Slater as well. He might manifest his girlfriend, and that's how he deals with the loss of her. And
Well,
I just thought that it was interesting that Elliot would go back to that point, their very first meeting. I was just really trying to figure out, what was the significance? I guess, what did you guys think the significance of, that first meeting, them sort of recognizing the awkwardness that was there, but then them feeling so familiar with each other at the same time.
I think it's the overarching theme of just the source. Like how everything begins, how everything is some type of computation of everything else.
Yeah.
And to be able to just, in the internet, you're able to just view the source and see what it is and isn't and then change what you need to change. Whereas in life, it's a lot more messy and complicated to even see and get to. There's no just one button for it. Yeah. And I think showing this and starting off the episode this way is their way of just showing what the view source is to the Shayla to the Shayla relationship. Yeah. And they don't give you a year either.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like too it was very, telling in the end with how she was like, if you care, it's special and this and that. And also like the lyrics of the song that we opened with very much coincided with who Elliot was. So I feel like it was just a little bit, because if you think about Elliot and Shayla's relationship, it was kind of like drug dealer, random sex, dating dead. Like it was very quick.
So we needed that.
Yeah, like we needed like a little bow to tie. I needed it. I missed her.
Yeah, and I thought that it just gave a really great insight into Elliot and just how important Shayla was to him. Right. Just having that moment of.
But then it was weird because he was saying after that like she'll be only a thought. He's okay that she's dead.
I think he was forcing himself to come to that
to deal with
it, But I think that was a very significant point for him because even though he admitted feeling really awkward and uncomfortable, clearly there was something about their interaction with each other in that first time that made them feel really comfortable together. So I guess, for me, it was just an insight into Elliot and just how different and special Shayla was even before they came to be dating with,
Also kind of like his dad.
Yeah.
Think about it, because when he gave his reveal with his dad, that's when his dad, fractured his relationship with his father. And when he finally took that next step with Shayla, she ended up being killed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something to look at as well, that everything he touches dies, goes away.
Everything he tries to help.
Yes, because he's a savior. That's his main MO.
Yeah, but what else did he try to help? And
everyone. That's all. Yeah. That's his main MO.
With
he's
his
trying
dad,
to save the world.
Angela.
But he didn't. So you think he's responsible for his dad's death?
No. But remember, he was told to keep it secret from his mother.
Mm-hmm. That he feels responsible for listening and trying to help. He feels responsible,
but this was a little bit more. I mean, I think there's a big leap from. Maybe I'm wrong. I think there's a big leap from, keeping a secret and telling someone that someone's sick than doing what he's doing and hacking and her being a pawn and being killed because of it. It's kind of a little stretch.
Okay.
That's fair.
Just throwing it out there.
I like it.
Thanks.
Who's gonna die
Welcome back,
next?
JC.
I missed you, buddy.
Missed you. All right.
It is worth noting it's been a month.
Right.
Realistically, it's been a month, and he's back in his psychiatrist's office. And her
Krista.
Her name is Krista. We don't really get her name much.
We haven't seen her in a while too.
And we haven't seen her in a couple of weeks. And he's in there with Krista, and Krista is signing all the necessary court paperwork to get him to go away. Which in the realm of the series, we don't even know those details of why he has court ordered, why he is court mandated for 1 full year. Psychiatric visits.
Well, it says it on the
website. It says that he got caught doing what he's doing. Mm-hmm. But we don't know that. What
does that mean? Caught doing?
Well, he got caught up hacking people the character bio on the website said
A financial hacking, like
Yeah.
a banking institution or something, right?
like
Was
pretty
that
much exactly what he's trying to do.
Well, that's really interesting because there's been other times with him and Krista. I know we haven't seen her a lot, but there's been other times where he's mentioned things to Krista that would let her know that he was hacking. So if he was there because of that, I feel like she would be more aware of that.
I agree too that
Yeah.
you'd think she'd have her guard up a little more if she
Yeah.
was dealing with someone who does that.
And that's never been in their conversation.
Yeah.
Unless that's the dark people that she and him talk about, he sees them. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I just
I feel like
didn't,
there's more to be exposed, especially
Yeah.
now that he might actually keep opening up to Krista.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we might actually learn
I think you're
like why he's there, because even the bio on the USA website only tells you he
So
did
much,
something he was acquitted of financial whatever, and that was court mandated.
Right.
Where it's like we don't know what he was doing. Was it F Society?
Yeah.
Was it F Society and he's repressed that and it's all Mr. Robot stuff? Was it something else completely?
I mean, and so far it seemed like they haven't really addressed, like she hasn't really come from it from a psychological standpoint of why did you hack this financial, she's talked more about his family and him being lonely and him just trying to deal
And his
with
drugs.
addiction issues,
Yeah.
so that's never, I mean, even if she did have some sort of inkling that hacking was a part of the reason why he was there, I don't think maybe in her mind she didn't feel that was the root reason as to why he was there. So
Right.
for her it didn't matter.
Yeah.
It was figuring out all the other reasons that was causing him to lash out, in a sense.
Yeah.
Although it's probably really important now for her to understand that he needs to know and not just she'll have to get over the personal affront to her privacy, I just heard that sentence. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Right.
She has to get over that whole
has to get it
invasion of
over.
her privacy thing.
But
But
it
to truly help him, she needs to understand that's. And he even said, when I did web design when I was a child, I would view the source.
Right.
I need to know everything, and I can.
That was one of my
Amazing
favorite
scene.
scenes all season.
yeah.
When he said, "View the source." I wish I could view people like I view this, and everyone had the signs around their neck.
I like
Yes,
feet.
yes.
I like feet. I like sex. I'm
hate my
this. I'm
husband,
that.
I'm
I'm afraid of
yeah.
sex. I'm
Okay.
bulimic.
Think
Yeah.
of this. We saw that. We all love that scene, but isn't it unfortunately timely with the death of Roddy Piper? With the kind of, you could say it's even a They Live homage. Because when he'd put on the sunglasses, he would see everyone's true motives.
Yeah.
And we saw that, and it's just total coincidence, but how weird is that, And even
Right.
Sam Esmail's even said it's weird
just-
how things are happening as this show is on in real
Yeah.
life as well.
Oh yeah. It is.
Yeah.
That part is coincidental.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think what he's saying is that's not necessarily impossible, but B, that who would want to know that?
Yeah. Would
Right.
anyone?
Yeah, well,
I'm asking that.
apparently Elliot, anyone close to Elliot, apparently he does that. And I think that's what he wants to fix.
And it's clear that. Oh wait, I think I'm gonna say exactly what you said. Like it's clear that Elliot wants that. That's why he hacks him to know the truth.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that ultimately isolates him.
Yeah.
Because if you knew that, and I think that's what he's learning, is that if I knew that about everyone, if I knew those deepest, darkest, truest motives about everyone I ever interact with in my life, I probably wouldn't want to interact with
Yeah,
people.
it
See, I want to
changes.
know.
I probably
that
love
stuff.
Shayla.
No, you don't.
No, you do, but then you don't. You don't.
it's an outside looking in thing.
You
think
want to
you wanna
know.
but then once you have the information, it completely skews your whole perspective of that person. So
Well, but yes and no, because I don't know what kind of secrets you guys have, but like,
And you never
Let me
will.
tell ya.
right,
Human nature.
right. But in the same sense, like, how do you truly connect with someone? Like, that's the beauty of it, to like know that stuff and then not judge and understand that if you were that person, you would have made the exact same decisions in that point in time, and then you.
I mean, I
No,
think
In a
that
perfect
there's-
world, no, I thought the same as you did, but now
I
I'm like,
still am there,
But
and
the-
I'm probably the oldest one on this panel.
no, but what
I-
I'm saying is the truth of what people really think. I don't think any of us
I
are ever
totally
ready to
wanna
that.
know.
I mean,
I don't.
we ourselves sometimes can't even deal with the
but
truth of
that's-
who we
honestly,
are.
But honestly, to see a person
Right.
as a web page you can view
Yeah.
the source of is part of why he's lonely and isolated, because he's not
Right.
seeing them as people.
Yeah, well,
And that's if you see it as just information, like that would help you interact with people around you. Yes, it would be best to know all the information you can know, but to actually connect with someone on a personal level, it's more important that I tell you one of my deeper darkest secrets, then you figure it out or find it nefariously, that you would never connect to me that way.
It's intimacy.
But I
It's
think,
Yeah.
but I think on the flip side too is Elliot being able to see, you know, this view source, being able to see everyone's flaws and who they are. You know, that's one thing, but it's the other side of people don't know that Elliot knows this information about them.
Well, I
so
think
it makes them harder to connect with him because how awkward is that? Like, you know, all my deepest, darkest secrets. I may not want to have a close personal relationship with you because I might feel like you're judging me, or I just might feel really uncomfortable opening up to you.
Well, I think too what it does is it levels the playing field for Elliot because he is so awkward and he wants to see that everyone else is imperfect as well. But tying it back to Krista and what we were talking about, like him being there for hacking, it seems to me when he tells Krista, she's in shock.
As she should be, because...
But if he was there because of hacking, like tying it back to that, that
yeah.
wouldn't be... I feel like her...
I feel like...
I'm thrown a little bit.
I feel like average people don't understand how unprotected their information is. And I think that's where her reaction came from. Like, she knows that he's a hacker and she knows what kind of power he could have and yield, but she doesn't understand the extent of what someone with his knowledge can figure out about you in like a second.
Right.
And I think it also had a bit to do with his emotional delivery of it. You know, he wasn't saying it matter of fact, like, yeah, I watch you, you know, your webcam, you cry, you watch porn. Like, he wasn't coming at it from, you know, a very matter of fact way. He was very emotional about it. So it almost, to me, it kind of came off as stalkerish, you know, like he had been watching her maybe from like a creepy standpoint before he got to I'm lonely and I see that you're lonely and we connect in this way and I need your help.
And also
so,
he mentioned I do this with everyone.
yeah. So before he mentioned that though, it did to me, I would be alarmed like, oh my gosh, this guy is in, you know, my shower every night. He's sleeping under my bed every night, you know? Like it was pretty, you know, especially for a woman too.
Yeah.
You know, you have a man who knows these personal private details about you that you haven't mentioned to anybody. That would be alarming to me.
Yeah.
So I got that part of it.
And yeah, I love that scene.
Yeah, it was good. It was,
good
good
very
ending.
touching, very well written, and very emotional for Elliot too.
And speaking of Elliot being alone, like he's been alone this whole episode. Like aside from that one moment, like Elliot didn't really have scenes with other people. He had scenes with Flipper, his dog, who this isn't enough of a thing for predictions, but they scanned the microchip in the dog, and the dog doesn't legally belong to him. Does anybody else think they're taking Flipper away? They gotta take Flipper away. They have to take Flipper away.
I was more because they clearly Flipper ate a part of what he wanted to destroy.
That too.
Yeah.
So I feel like that might play.
That they'll take Flipper away before Flipper passes
the chip.
It looked the size of an SD card, but it was probably a chip of some type. It looked like he took all his.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Things
reveal.
are looking good for Flipper.
I don't want to reveal my lack of knowledge on this subject. It looked like he pulled out his RAM, and I'm like, but that no memory is on your RAM. It's random access memory. That's what RAM is. So I don't know exactly what he was pulling out.
Yeah.
To clean.
Anyway. Yeah. No, I hear you. But you know, it's not the first time we've seen him microwave something.
Yeah.
And destroy.
It's a clear thing with him. That I think he cleans his computer like that a lot.
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he does it.
I think we're moving on from Elliot.
Yeah.
To I think the meat of this episode is Angela Colby and the case from 1993 that it was resin toxin.
Yeah.
Because I think this first we know that it was like plastic resin, and then the toxin from plastic resin, they decided they were just going to dump it somewhere. Mm-hmm. And she meets with her lawyer, who has a first name that we just learned.
Yes. Anatar?
Antara.
Yeah.
Antara, thank you.
Yeah, something like that.
But we never heard her last name in this episode. They're
We
funny
heard it
about-
last.
Yeah, we
week,
heard her last name last week. We heard her first name this week. They're funny like that. And she wants to meet with Terry Colby. And we just get the basic rigmarole that happens when lawyers want to set up something like this. It's like, well, no. He needs full immunity. He needs this. He needs that. And Angela eventually meets with him, and we've never heard her plan. And then she reveals her plan to Terry Colby that I'm essentially going to lie, because she hasn't...
compromised the data.
She hasn't compromised that DAT file at all.
Right.
But she claims, I'm going to lie if you testify against them on the toxic waste spill.
Right.
How do we feel about Angela? Just what is she after?
She wanted the truth. She wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, going back
Is
to
it
the
that
news
genuine?
source. Oh,
with her mother's death.
Well, I mean, of course with her mother's death, but everything involved, do we think it's really just that genuine that she just wants the truth and wants to feel whole and complete? I don't know. It seems simple.
I was thinking that as well. I remember last week, I think we were kind of talking about that. What were her true motives behind trying to pursue this case now? You know, they've known for like what we can assume has been months now that Toby was involved with.
And now that her ego has been totally kicked, like, is this some way for her to regain some sort of power? I don't know. I feel like there's a power play there.
Yeah. And there's still the issue with her dad being broke.
Or it could be as simple as she went and saw her dad being broke, and now it's triggered to make this whole and complete for her. But I don't know. I feel like there's something deeper with Angela.
It has to be for her.
No, I honestly think it's just closure.
Really?
That she needs to know. Because beyond all the BS and like all the walls that any corporation would build, any corporation that makes a decision like that could kill people, any wall that they put up, she just wants to go behind all those walls.
Right, but will the new CTO Scott be somehow involved in this play, and then will that be how Tyrell eventually gets to be the CTO?
We'll get there. I see it differently with Scott and CTO. I think.
Scott's a bad dude.
I think Scott's a bad dude, and I think Tyrell's a worse dude.
Tyrell is
nuts. But
I know we won't.
I think we'll.
But
I think we'll get there. I think this is separate.
Yeah, I feel like the Angela Colby reveal, like, that is gonna have its own. It's gonna play its course for the next episode or two. But something that affects everything else is gonna shake out of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like it can't just be like they go and she finds and she gets fired from all. And again, that's the whole thing too. Like, she's presented with this huge question about what to do when it comes to doing. Like, Gideon tells her all these people's jobs are going to be compromised.
It has to be something. Yeah, it has to be something bigger than that.
Yeah, because she doesn't know that All Safe is kind of going to go under anyway.
But to her, something bigger than that is just doing right. Because I think her, I think she feels like she hasn't done right yet. That a company killed her mom, and her dad is sick.
But lying under oath,
but then she
responsible.
Went to college, racked up a bunch of debt to that company, and then worked for the cybersecurity company that represents that company. That, like, she feels complicit in everything she thinks is wrong.
She had no qualms with being in charge of that account until she got kicked out of the room and embarrassed.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And she had no idea that whole situation, with Elliot compromising the DAP file, she had no idea that situation was going to happen. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I personally feel, maybe the motive isn't as big as we're thinking it is, but for her to feel like she needs to lie under oath, she's going to go in a courtroom and she's going to lie. And for her to know that, this company's at stake, these people's livelihoods are at stake, I don't know. I wouldn't personally base it off of, I just need closure. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a lot of years. It's been a lot of time. That can be a great driving force, but I don't know if that's the aha moment. Yeah.
That feels strong enough to me to carry all of this.
To carry out all of that, though?
To carry...
She told her lawyer last week alone, crappy relationship. My power was taken away even at work. I'm trying to avenge my mom's death, trying to find out the truth. She's kind of like that crusader.
But then she's just showing all of her cards right there.
Yeah. And then there's so much potential for this to backfire, for people to find out that she was lying. And then now everything that she's done could kind of, unravel.
I agree there. No, I'm not saying it's a well-laid plan. I'm just saying that it's... Because if it were a well-laid plan, she would have actually mishandled the DAT file, playing a long game.
Because even last week, Elliot encouraged her. Remember, I've got a plan, and he knew that he was just encouraging her to get her out of the way because he was dealing with the whole...
But then if that's the case, why wouldn't she involve Elliot more? His dad died too because of this.
But I think the play she's making, she needs to distance Elliot from the entire situation because he was closer. Like, he actually mishandled the DAT file.
But she doesn't know
She doesn't know that, but she also doesn't know that Allsafe is gonna go out of business anyway.
I think Luis kind of agrees with kind of what we're saying on the edges here, that justice to her mom and all the people who died.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's not enough, huh?
It's a risky move, I'll
Not
admit.
enough
so
for me.
yeah,
You don't
I feel like
put
there's
you don't
more.
put everything on the line just for like a.
And for a show like this, I mean, there's always yeah, exactly. For a show like this, there's always way more
Vindication for
than-
people's deaths, for her mother's death, and just innocence that died.
But it's based on a
Right,
lie,
but it's not.
though.
But that's the vindication isn't gonna get her a job. It's not gonna get her dad out of debt.
She doesn't care about that.
Exactly.
She
Yeah.
she said it in this episode, and
unless she's more involved with.
a user
The
in our
F
chat,
Society
a
and
user
stuff
in our
like that.
chat who has 6 N's. That's their whole name.
Yeah.
He's like Angela said. So men like you don't sit around and talk anymore. Like so corporations can't make decisions
They
on a
can't.
whim that will kill people. That will treat us like she agrees that
It just seems to me like it's too much of a legit way to do things. Something's got to get messy.
I agree something will get messy.
Yeah.
Like, and that's all that ever happens when you dig
Yeah.
up the truth.
Right.
Or when you dig up the past is all you'll ever really get is messy, and that's what she's going to learn. But her motivation is very clear.
Or maybe Sam Esmail has just scrambled my brain, and now I'm overanalyzing everything.
There's
I
that,
feel
too.
Like that's,
He's
that
absolutely
really is, too.
doing that.
That's someone with a straightforward motive. You're like, never.
Yeah, totally.
What's that?
What
I'm
are
like,
you talking
I'm like,
about?
Corty the fish has got to be in on it somehow. He's got to be in on it.
Oh, yeah, Keith
So-
David? Absolutely.
Keep David, right?
So let's get to F Society.
Yes.
And they're trying to get the band back together. It's been a month.
They're trying to get the band back together, except Elliot. Did anyone else see that as weird? That everyone's been trying to be recruited except Elliot?
I think we all know that reason.
I'm just saying.
I think those of us who apply to the Fight Club reason see this as more proof.
Because he would be, if there was no reason, quote unquote, he would have been the first one that that Christian Slater went to and saying, okay, I know this happened, blah blah blah. Like, we need to get your head out of there. We need to go.
But I feel like Elliot. I feel like that's inside of Elliot that he doesn't need convincing.
Yeah.
So of
Right.
course, let's do that again.
Or to play devil's advocate, it could be Mr. Robot just saying, Elliot's girlfriend Shayla was just brutally murdered, and he might need some time off.
That too.
So
And that Elliot, as a part of a team, like all Elliot actually did was give them access.
Yeah.
So that if they don't need that access anymore, they might not necessarily need Elliot.
Yeah.
What will Mr. Robot do to Romero if they don't finish this?
Kill him.
Kill
That's
him.
it?
The threat of death, like the threat of what Mr. Robot will do to Romero is enough to get Romero to do everything, and it strikes me as something that's already happened.
Well, and he's probably has some information.
I mean, with the conversation with Darlene and
Trenton?
yes, at the end, everybody has their motives for why they're in this. So there's something that is driving them. So I'm sure that they've already laid that out with each other, and we can maybe figure that out in later episodes. But I personally felt like before going to Elliot, maybe Mr. Robot or the group, they just wanted to kind of solidify themselves a little bit more before going back to Elliot, since they were already together in the beginning, and then the whole thing kind of fell apart once Elliot jumped on board. So maybe they felt like, okay, well, we kind of have to come back together again and prove that we're stronger than ever and that we have the Dark Army in order for him to really be back on board and for this to work. So I felt like it was just them
without
replacing
being-
their ducats without
being divisive.
Yes,
because we
exactly.
could debate. I think
Yeah.
every week. I think we've been playing this game where
game, yeah.
we could just debate the existence of
down, side
Mr.
to
Robot
side, yeah.
for
Right.
the whole hour, and nobody wants to see that show.
I have a ridiculous, I know it's super ridiculous theory. But do we think somehow Vera is involved or connected to the Dark Army? Because it just seems the fact that when he went away to jail, that's when
I don't buy
Dark
that.
Army couldn't go, and now that he's out of jail, the Dark Army is going to be back in.
No, I think he's just.
think-
His
was-
brother was
timing.
the computer guy.
Because,
I
yeah.
thought so. I thought
Because
so.
Dark
I'm just
Army could have
throwing
hacked
it out
him
there
out,
that
yeah.
the timing of those two things kind
It's
of
interesting.
coincide.
I'm sure Vera will make another. I think he might make another.
I think he's going to make
Hold
another
on.
appearance too. That's why.
Anonymous brought up a great little statement here. I thought they weren't supposed to know each other's location, know each other outside of the arcade.
Yeah.
And that's always been off since the beginning. They said that in the very first episode, but
Right.
we see that time and time again. They've kind of
They
broken that
don't
rule.
interact. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of read it as they're not supposed to do hacking related stuff with each other outside of the arcade. I don't think at least I read it as they couldn't have conversations with each other.
Yeah, they don't
everything
work
that
on
they've
stuff
said,
outside.
And it seems like they,
Okay.
yeah, I think it's more they don't work on, but they can talk about
They can
going back
talk,
to the
yeah.
arcade and working.
Yeah.
So,
But that's an interesting point. Thank you, Anonymous.
Yeah.
what's the name of the larger gentleman?
Mobley.
Mobley. We haven't seen Mobley.
Yeah, they just haven't gotten to Mobley.
Is
yet,
Mobley,
so-
or he's already there? It's, I don't know, but that's a
that's
brief
something
aside. I'm trying to think. Darlene in this episode.
Yeah. So Dark Army is now. So what? So
Okay.
what was going out? How did we get Dark Army back on board here?
First, I have to apologize to you ladies because a few episodes, ago, we said you guys brought up the power of womanhood,
Yes.
Yes,
The
we
triangle.
remember.
The
Yes.
woman triangle.
the woman
Power of the
triangle,
P, the
yeah,
power
the power
of
of
the
the P, and that Darlene has been Cisco for the last month, posing as him, and got access to White Rose.
Yeah. She
And
got-
he's not. He's mad, but he's like not mad enough to walk away and not tell her that what she did worked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what I
He
think.
is so whipped. Just saying.
Yeah,
You guys are right.
but
But
she
I-
has that power.
Yeah.
She had that power over him, and she poses as him to
Yeah.
to talk to White Rose. Who do we think White Rose is?
Go
You wanna
ahead,
say about
JC.
predictions, or we
No,
just
no,
jump
that's
right
just
in?
it.
Let's just jump it in.
I think you were right a few weeks ago.
My prediction ties
Tyrell?
in. Yeah, we're all there. Tyrell.
Yeah,
I
I think about three of us
I'm-
said that.
I'm a little on the fence about Tyrell.
Angela.
What about Tyrell's wife?
Wife, yeah. I think
Everyone-
I think it might be more the wife, only because, especially in this episode, the wife was saying steady. So clearly he has his moments where he's very unsteady and he's very shifty. And just from a leader standpoint, I mean, not to say that you have to be absolutely perfect as a leader, but just his emotions, he allows his emotions to sort of rock him at points. And I don't know if that would make for a
good
stable leader as somebody like White Rose. Whereas the wife, she is completely in control. She might get a little angry and upset, but she's
Interesting.
very much in control of her emotions, and she's very strategic, and she's very meticulous. So
I'm sticking with Tyrell, but that's making a little more sense.
Yeah, I feel like
I mean, she
I could-
always seems to be like
But
the
I
one
could,
pulling the string.
but I could see
so.
Tyrell
Yeah.
being the master of his own universe in that world, on an IRC at a terminal. Like I could see that balancing Tyrell, and it's real life. It's real life that he struggles with.
We'll find out. I think if it's not next week or the
we're
next,
gonna-
because it's titled White Rose.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah.
And we also established White Rose was the name of an anti-Nazi group in
Yep.
Nazi Germany.
right.
But
So-
my only question is, if it is Tyrell or his wife, then why were they so interested in having Elliot join his team at the very beginning? Because he was, a very great computer hacker. You have an entire army of great computer hackers. Why specifically? And he seemed very disappointed in that first episode when Elliot was like, I'll think about it. He wanted Elliot for a specific reason, and I think he wanted him because he knew how great his skills were, but you have an entire team. You have a whole army of people who are terrific hackers. So why fixate yourself on Elliot?
Because I feel
That's
like
interesting.
I feel like he would need. I think that would be to take him out of the element.
So yeah, just like keep your enemies close.
That's
Yeah.
true.
That would be my only thing. That's a good point, but that would be my only thing. But I don't know. I feel like, are they toying with us to show us Tyrell's imperfections so that we think he can't have the power? To me, again, not that he's weak, or I don't see him, in this episode as weak at all because he's crazy, but he seems very on edge, or there's no balance in him. Which
Well,
is
his only
interesting.
balance is his wife. His only balance is his wife. That's what keeps him level.
But I don't know. She does play a strong role.
Yeah.
But does she play that? Like, is she just gonna have more and more play? I
That
don't know.
she's magically behind a computer. I'm not sure. I'm
Yeah,
not saying
like-
that.
Like a Batcave type of thing.
But like they could easily build her up to that in 2 weeks. But like if that came out in an episode next week, I'd be a little. It would feel
It would throw
iffy
you
on. It
off.
would feel a little iffy on paper. That said, whatever. I have faith in this. I have faith in this show that whatever they show me will just be awesome.
Well, just speaking on the issue of Tyrell, I thought it was really interesting how in this episode, as they're bringing F Society together to pull off this huge plan that they have to bring down Evil Corp. I thought it was great how we got to see sort of really small snippets of the corruption that sort of goes on, you know, in these meetings. You know, we're talking about, I don't want, you know, with Angela saying, I don't want these meetings, you know, they're having shrimp, they're having cocktail, they're talking about different people, and it just seems so commonplace with them, but it's just like so much evil and corruption and wealth and power there. I just thought it was great to get those glimpses of that in her, you know, with Colby and with Tyrell and his associates, and just all those snippets, and at the same time we're seeing F Society really band back together. It just really made me like,
one's falling apart and one's coming back together.
Yeah, that's and you see why we need F Society.
It was infuriating to me listening to that. Just I don't know for personal.
Which one?
Was. I mean, the
Colby, going back to Colby and Angela, just how they made that decision. I mean, it was infuriating. And I'm sure that's what SML almost wants us. It's almost that social, like, you know, just commentary.
Yeah, even
but it's a lot of reveal though. Like what they, even with Tyrell and his associates when he fired him, it's like that stuff really happens. And as uncomfortable as it is. You know,
those are real conversations.
Yeah, and somebody like Colby who thinks he has the power and says stuff like that to Angela when she's trying to get information or help him, like have him help her and her help him type situation. Like, I'm sure that stuff really happens that way. So he's just kind of really
maybe
taking
even
the
on
wall
a worse, you know, even worse scale.
Right. And to bring it back to the Elliot question, that in the second episode when Elliot was offered a job by Tyrell, I think it's because Tyrell wanted to like destroy him or disable him, and he thought his motivation was money. So it's like, if I offer him a huge job with a lot of responsibility, he won't want to take down Evil Corp anymore. And then he's shocked to realize that's not the case, where his motive's actually revenge. Right. But I think on a couple Major Keys in the chat room is saying that everyone's motivator in this world is money.
Well, I think that's the Evil Corp. Yeah. Well, everyone's motivator is money, really. Even in F Society, it's equaling the money. It's taking away the money. Like, one way or another, money is either being given or taken.
And then we also get the idea of momentary anarchy. This is what Darlene wants.
Yeah.
Darlene doesn't actually to change the world like Trenton does or like Elliot does.
Right.
Darlene would be willing to, like, well, no, but if it was kind of anarchic for like a second, that would be cool, and that would be a success.
Which is interesting, because then, I mean, I guess if you have these people who have these different motives, what is F Society really doing? You know, I mean, are they really changing anything, or do they have their own personal gains that they're trying to get out of it? And if that's the case, then are they any different from Evil Corp? You know, people who are using, you know, their power and their prestige to get what they want.
Right.
There's a great little comment, but I don't know if you guys saw it, from Joseph Comsty. Yeah. His theory: Darlene's ex made up the meeting with White Rose. He's going to have Angela's ex pretend to be White Rose to figure out F Society's plan.
That'd be interesting. That would feel like a sellout. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it won't happen, but like that feels like a.
That's really interesting though, because that's the only one. What was his name?
Cisco?
No, the ex.
Ollie,
yeah. I mean, I could see that, but why Ollie? Like, he could have taken anyone. Like, unless Angela's White Rose.
Someone brought that up on the chat earlier, but I don't think so.
That doesn't resonate with me. But why would like, Ollie has nothing to do with anything else that's happened with F Society.
Right.
But in the same sense, unless because it was his terminal where it was sent from, maybe he's gonna. I don't know.
I think the ex feels a little bit more scared. I think he's a little.
Unless
jittery.
Colby's White Rose. No.
No.
Or Gideon.
Gideon's more likely to be White Rose.
Let's just keep throwing out names.
I know.
No, I know, but I feel like that's exactly what they want us to
Shayla
do.
was White Rose. Elliot was Mr.
No, but that's what they want us to do. Like, they want to lead you down a bunch of different paths.
And they've done it successfully.
Yeah, and that everyone watching can feel connected with who they think White Rose can be.
Literally, Flipper could be White Rose.
He could.
I'm getting ridiculous. I'm aware.
QWERTY.
But the whole
Rose.
Ollie being, you know, summoned, quote unquote, by the Dark Army makes me feel again back to Angela that there's a thicker plot rather than she just wants, like, there's something else going to happen with her.
Well, was he being summoned by Dark Army, or was he being summoned by Darlene's ex? Who, like, I just think that because maybe Dark Army found out about what Darlene was doing, and that.
But
No, I think
Ollie
she
has nothing to do with Darlene.
No, she posed as him.
Yeah, she posed
as him
Darlene's
to
ex.
set up a meeting with F Society.
Yeah.
Right, so that has nothing to do with Ollie.
Correct.
Yeah, so Ollie, I think somehow is tying back to Angela and Colby and Evil Corp and Gideon.
It could have
that.
something to do with All Safe. So
Gideon's got to be somehow in this too.
Well,
He's got to be
we
in
saw
the mix.
Gideon's name, and we also saw a bit of it in the preview. We do have to move on from F Society.
Yeah, let's move on.
Trying to think if we missed anything.
Oh,
important
yes, we
there.
did.
What did we miss about it?
Absolutely. Scott's promotion.
Well, so,
no. Moving on from F. What do we
like
miss?
anything else F Society. Yeah, like I think we covered all those, but we are up to Tyrell Wellick, who is a psychopath.
Oh yeah.
Absolute psychopath. He's at the party for Scott.
Scott Knowles' promotion.
Scott Knowles, thank you.
Yeah.
Scott Knowles' promotion, the
The
promotion
new CTO.
that Tyrell thinks he should have received.
Yeah.
And-
his wife, both of them, him and the wife.
And then he has to deal with the wife situation where the wife had to like tell him the husband, and whew.
Now my question is, because at first I originally thought, okay, that couldn't have been a part of the plan because of the way that he freaked out, but then I thought, well, maybe that was originally a part of the plan, and he just couldn't handle, the massiveness of what he did, and he had a breakdown moment.
Yeah, I feel like there's something more, and it's funny because I said it as soon as they were up on the
Yeah,
roof.
he's like-
Yeah,
I was
why?
like, he's
Where-
gonna. I don't know where it came from. I'm like,
I
she's
felt
dead.
that too. I thought I
Right away.
thought that would be too on the nose, but then I was like, no, I've seen too many scenes like this in movies where it starts off with that room, and then it just goes completely.
It's just something about his air.
Yeah.
It's like, it's psychopath. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know the the extreme behaviors of that, but it's like something in him switches.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
It's like there's something that just like he's not just crazy, like he's literally out of his mind, and something switches, and you see it. You see it when he's with the associates and he fires them, like that look on his face.
Yeah,
and
he
you see it
cracks.
here. He completely
flips.
there's a switch that's just done. Different person.
But he just goes in and out so,
And
There were no
This-
cameras on the roof.
yeah. So no one.
that
saw.
is important to remember.
There were
Also,
no
I
cameras
think
on
his
Yeah.
trigger is typically his trigger is sex.
right.
Both times this episode, the trigger was sex.
Yeah.
Whether it was talking about gay sex or whether it was about to have sex with this woman. Whatever is triggering him to just fly off the handle and make irrational decisions.
Sex and violence too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think, with the associates, it was that he knows that he uses sex and that stuff to get things that he wants.
Yeah.
So he was feeling like his ego was like, I'm not good enough. This is the way that I have to get my information. But again, I feel like Tyrell, he's going to come around and shock us, I think.
Yeah, there's like you were saying about his wife. You were saying it's too about Angela earlier that it's too easy. It's too on the nose. Same thing I think with Tyrell. There's much deeper layers there, and I don't think it's
Yeah.
just that easy.
I don't see how she factored into this plan anymore. Other than just being able to hold that over the CTO's head.
He was going to
yeah.
fire him anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But humiliation, it could be a
But
scandal.
even now, like, what now? Like, he's
Exactly.
completely going to be, like, whether or not he slept with her,
Yeah.
killed her, doing something to hurt her now, knowing that she would go tell him, what's his reasoning?
That's-
Like, why was that this, like, steady? What was steady? What did that mean?
This is Tyrell's loose end for me.
yeah.
That I don't know why he's involved with that woman at all.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, now to think about it, yeah, I think that was a panic moment for him because the way he even tried to clean her off. I mean, I'm sure there's way more of his DNA, which is probably why the police want to speak to him. Let me just wipe off her mouth and then.
Yeah, he's too
I'll
smart
be all
for that.
good.
Why-
Yeah, it seemed like a panic move. Like he was there to have sex with her, but again, that sexual craving, that violence, that power took over, and he just made a really
but is the question,
crazy move.
was the whole having sex with her a trigger and a flip against the plan and being unsteady? Because I don't see I really don't see
Well, I think-
what he could have done had he not killed her. What he could have done to hold something over.
That's what I'm saying. I don't feel like there's no get from that. There's no like I've got this now as a piece of blackmail or evidence or whatever. There's nothing. He's not gonna get the job then.
Well, maybe
Still,
he
what is he
could've
gonna say?
gotten-
I'm gonna tell. Like, what's he gonna say to Scott? I'm gonna tell everyone that I slept with your wife on the roof. If don't fire me.
Well,
Like that doesn't seem like that would be the play.
It could have been a manipulative play to throw Scott off. He could have been using her as a way to get
Yep.
information
Yep.
from
But
Evil
still,
Corp.
Scott clearly didn't care.
Or
Like, not that he didn't care, but he
No,
wasn't
he-
completely affected by the fact that
I
his
think he-
wife opened her legs for him.
I think he was. I think he was affected by it. I think the wife played it off as something
Right.
else. But I think that it did push his buttons a little bit.
Tyrell's wife even said that.
Yeah, it pushed his
Tyrell's wife
buttons.
even said
Yeah.
that she wants attention. So his original plan was to get in there, like you said,
the attention.
get the attention, so he can get everything he needs about Scott. Because the week before he was embarrassed to pieces
Yeah.
by the guy.
He knew that he
Overall.
couldn't face Scott head on. So the best next thing is his wife, somebody who he
So you
kind of
think
already
he
has an
would have
open with.
extorted information from the wife, just kept a relationship going,
I mean, I'm sure he could have done. Once you have somebody wrapped around your
or
finger,
got
you
in
can
there
pretty
to like
much-
hack him or something
Right,
like
Yeah,
that?
you can
That's
pretty
why-
much do whatever you want.
That's
Yeah,
why the
that
wife
was a
wanted him
big
to be
fail.
steady. Don't lose your cool. This is the
Slow
plan.
and steady
Yeah.
wins the race.
Exactly.
now, I think we could talk in circles about this. Otherwise, I think we're ready for predictions because it kind of ties into
Right.
my thought on all this.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, is anyone dying to go first?
No.
Okay, I think Tyrell Wellick is White Rose. He's been commanding the Dark Army for quite some time, and initially he needed F Society to get that in. To get that in while Tyrell kept his hands clean, which Elliot gave him. And then the plan kind of fell apart. And like Elliot was unstable, so he used Cisco. He used Cisco to give the CD to and Ollie, to give the CD to Ollie, who Angela found out about, and then Angela put it in the terminal, thus giving the Dark Army everything that F Society would have, thus making F Society null and void to the plan. Now, why would the potential CTO of Evil Corp want all the data to disappear via hackers? It's because he's not the CTO, and he wants to sabotage this CTO and let F Society's plan happen. And I think that's his way to step in and say, I could have done this, this, and this. And you're obviously firing this guy. And like he'll probably leave some type of back door for him to fix it. And that's my grand plan. That's Tyrell Wellick is some type of grand master.
When did you come up with this? This is this is so elaborate. This is fantastic. I love it.
I wrote 2 sentences like 20 minutes ago.
Okay.
That was
I kind of
Drop the mic, Steve. Just walk away.
Yeah, I'm kind of buying into what you're saying. It totally struck something for me in. Mine's not as long as yours. Yours was a lot,
I know,
lot more
that's
thought
a
out
hard
than
one to
where I'm
beat.
going.
Like Ray could have played the theme of
But-
Mr. Robot underneath that.
But in the same sense, is that really it? Was that CD, by uploading that data, was it really taking the walls down and making Evil Corp way easier to get into in a lot of different ways?
just from Dark Army. That it's just Dark Army's in, which Dark Army didn't have. Dark Army's in was F Society.
I'm still on the fence about Tyrell.
But then
being
how
White
does
Rose.
Gideon play? Because I feel like Gideon, it's going to go full circle back to Austin or Houston or
Austin.
wherever they went,
Austin.
that Gideon was there and he knew what Elliot was doing, and it's all going to go full circle back to there, I think.
And Gideon's not going to lose all safe.
Yeah, he's fighting for it, real deal.
No, we've only seen the beginning
Yeah,
of his
like,
madness to fight for all safe.
You're right that Gideon might have seen the log and is involved and has been involved the whole time.
Right.
I could buy that, but I'm sticking with my prediction, guys.
Yeah.
I think
Alright.
Tyrell is an evil mastermind.
I'm with
When-
you. I feel like Tyrell is going to turn around and we're going to see something really crazy from him.
And the wife. I mean, whether killing the wife was a part of their plan or not, I think in some way he and the wife, Tyrell and his wife, are going to try and flip it to make it look like Scott killed her. so that maybe the murder might fall on him, and then he loses his position
And
as
it's
CTO.
the same. It's the tarnished.
Yeah.
It's the idea
Just
of
a different
tarnishing him
route.
to lose it. Yeah.
I want to believe that the Tyrell could be White Rose. I don't know. I mean, again, like you have an entire hacking army. You couldn't hack, to make it look like Scott was crooked. Like you couldn't hack yourself to CTO. I don't know. It just seems like if you have an army like that at to your disposal, then
Unless there's a bigger plan.
yeah, maybe there's a bigger plan. But
No,
I feel
but I
like
get
I
what
would
you're
I
saying.
would utilize this army a little bit more if I had it.
like,
Go give me some
yeah,
groceries.
send it in the troops.
Right? Yeah.
I'm loving what the fans are even writing. Someone said Luis Ferreira said that Tyrell is getting set up by his wife.
That would be interesting.
I
just
like
saw
that.
and he's doing all the dirty work, is what he's saying.
Yeah, because he's like the bruiser henchman. He's Darth Vader and she's the Emperor.
I like that.
I like that too.
I'm just saying. So
Do we think do we think Krista and Elliot, is that relationship over, or do you think she's going to kind of
No,
stay in the game?
I think she's going to keep helping him.
I feel like she's gonna be like, the channel that brings us, the vehicle that brings us a lot more information.
Yeah.
He's
real
gonna
mystery
tell
of it.
her, and we're gonna hear a lot.
I missed it on the preview for next week's episode where. Was Elliot coming towards the camera like we gave him away or like we turned on him? I missed it. It was the very last
There was
snippet.
something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was this whole theme of them feeling like they were being followed or watched. So maybe that was a camera that was watching them, or it could be
Right.
us watching him. I don't know.
Because we're his friend. So
Well, but we're
Did
also
we-
in his head, and he's admitted that. So
Mm-hmm. We are
Who knows?
construct.
all right.
We're done.
I think that's I have to go home and watch this again so I can actually understand what went down, honestly, after like
oh yeah,
these
rewind.
last few weeks. And now that these clues that we're seeing in each episode, these little Easter eggs that are it's coming closer together. And
I predict I'm going to watch these 10 episodes. I feel like there's going to be a time in January while a bunch of TV's off where I'm going to watch these 10 episodes again with some type of information you only get at the end.
I've already timed it. It's like an 8-hour movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
An 8-hour movie. If you guys want to watch it's been a 6-hour movie so far.
Yeah.
And then let us know if we missed anything already. Where can the people find you? It was a weak segue.
The people can find me at IAMSCEFZ.
You guys can find me on Twitter at Ashley_Chatman, or one of the mysterious apartments that keep changing every episode. Yeah, I'll be there.
Nice. And you can find me at JC Rubio TV. And just so you guys know, we are still working on. I didn't share this during the episode.
Yeah.
I met Portia
did.
Doubleday last week.
Wow.
And we are working on it. Talked to her
Who
people
is
today.
Angela in the
Who is
show.
Angela
Yeah.
on the show. So we may just get her just yet.
That'll be
crossed,
awesome.
guys.
Fingers crossed, she'll be on.
You said it on the show. That elevates it to a certain level.
I know.
You can
Yeah.
find me at Steve Kaufmann. That is KAUFMANN. I cover a lot of stuff here at AFTERBUZZ TV. I tweet about it fairly regularly, and that's how you'll find out about it. Thank you so much for watching.
Thanks,
And
guys.
listening.
Bye, friends.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.